huge news today for the Resident Evil community. And honestly, if this leak turns out to be true, it is going to correct one of the biggest missed opportunities in Capcom's history. We just got a massive information dump regarding the future of the Resident Evil remakes. And contrary to what literally everyone was thinking, it looks like Resident Evil 5 is taking a back seat. That's right. According to a new report, the highly requested, fan favorite, and often neglected Resident Evil Code Veronica is finally getting the remake treatment it deserves. Now, this information comes from none other than Dusk Golem, who is basically the smoking gun when it comes to Capcom leaks. If you've been following the scene, you know that usually whenever there's smoke with Dusk Golem, there's fire. He took to Reddit and social media to shut down the rampant rumors that Resident Evil 5 was the next big reveal. Instead, he stated that a Code Veronica remake is going to be revealed later this year. This is a total game changer. For months, the internet has been absolutely convinced that Chris and Sheva were next in line. We even had Evil Adair, the voice actors for Sheva Alomar, posting teases that had everyone convinced she was back in the mocap suit for an RE5 remake. But here is where things get interesting. Dusk Golem clarified that while Evil Adair is working on a project, it is something else, potentially a new CGI movie or a different spin-off, and not the RE5 remake we all expected. This clears the runway for Claire Redfield to make her glorious return. And honestly, this is a match made in heaven. If you look at the timeline, skipping Code Veronica to jump straight to Resident Evil 5 never made sense from a story perspective. Code Veronica is arguably the true Resident Evil 3. It continues Claire's story directly after the Raccoon City incident as she searches for her brother, Chris. It establishes the return of Albert Wesker, complete with his superhuman abilities, and sets up the intense rivalry between him and Chris that culminates in Resident Evil 5. As one fan on Reddit perfectly pointed out, you can't do the Chris and Wesker rivalry in RE5 before doing CV. It just wouldn't hit the same without that context. Now, you're probably wondering, why is this announcement leak got gamers so hyped? Because for the longest time, it felt like Capcom was actively trying to erase this game from history. We got the RE2 remake, which was a masterpiece, then we got RE3, which, let's be real, was a bit of a letdown with how much cut content there was. Then they jumped straight to the heavy hitter, Resident Evil 4 remake. Code Veronica was left rotting on the Dreamcast and PS2, stuck with tank controls and some admittedly cringy voice acting. But the potential here is insane. Imagine Rockford Island in the RE engine, that dark, gothic atmosphere, the prison complex, the creepy mansion. It is the perfect setting for a modern survival horror experience. We aren't talking about the action-heavy set pieces of RE5 or RE6 here. Code Veronica is true survival horror. It's isolating, it's weird, and it has some of the most twisted villains in the franchise, with the Ashford twins. Seeing Alfred Ashford's madness realized with modern performance capture would be terrifying. Now, this brings me to another point regarding the platforms. We know the Nintendo Switch 2 is launching very soon, and if you look at Capcom's history, they love to support Nintendo. It is very likely that if this Code Veronica remake is real, it could be a cross-gen title or even a launch window game for the Switch 2. Having a high-fidelity, portable version of Code Veronica on a next-gen Nintendo console would be absolutely massive for the sales numbers. It just makes sense for them to maximize the audience for a title like this. And honestly, looking at the gameplay potential, the bare minimum for me is that they fix the Steve Burnside problem. Steve is notoriously one of the most annoying characters in the franchise, but with a rewrite and a new voice actor, similar to how they made Ashley Graham actually likable in the RE4 remake, they could turn him into a tragic hero that we actually care about. If they can pull that off, it will prove that Capcom is on a completely different level right now. Plus, imagine the boss fights, the Nosferatu fight, the Tyrant on the plane. Seeing those reimagined with modern mechanics and tight hitboxes is going to be incredible. Now, looking at the community reaction, people are losing their minds in the best way possible. The Screen Rant article highlights just how desperate fans have been for this. You have people saying, "I am so beyond excited. Those locations and atmosphere on Rockford Island were incredible." Another user called it their favorite game of all time. And I have to agree, there is a nostalgia factor here that is off the charts. But beyond nostalgia, there is a desire for redemption. We saw what Capcom did with Resident Evil 4 Remake. They took a game that was already perfect and somehow made it even better. If they give Code Veronica that same level of love and care, if they give it the RE5 treatment instead of the RE3 treatment, we're looking at a potential Game of the Year contender. The bare minimum for me is that they keep the length and the complexity of the map. Code Veronica was a long game, and it was difficult. I want to see that challenge preserved. However, you have to kind of put your tinfoil hat on for a second. While Dusk Golem is reliable, nothing is official until we see that Capcom logo and the title card. We've been burned by rumors before. Remember when everyone thought we were getting a DLC for RE3? Yeah, that never happened. But the timing here feels right. With Resident Evil Requiem literally dropping next month on February 27th, dropping a Code Veronica announcement later this year would be the perfect way to bridge the gap and keep the momentum going after the Requiem hype dies down. It just logically fits the marketing cycle perfectly. And think about the technology. The RE engine has matured so much. We've seen what it can do with lighting and gore in Dead Space. Well, that's Frostbite, but you know what I mean about modern horror standards. And the RE4 remake. The lighting on Rockford Island, the rain effects, the grotesque monster designs like the Bandersnatch. Those stretchy arm guys are going to be nightmare fuel in 4K 60 FPS. Also, this leak suggests a shift in strategy for Capcom. They're not just following the numbered titles anymore. They're listening to the fans. The demand for Code Veronica has been deafening. Every time they post about a new game, the comments are flooded with Code Veronica when. It seems like they finally got the memo. So, if this leak holds water, we're looking at a reveal sometime later this year. Maybe at a PlayStation showcase or a dedicated Capcom event. It would be massive. It would essentially complete the classic-era remakes and fix the continuity timeline for the new generation of fans who started with RE7 or the RE2 remake. I'm personally hoping they lean into the horror elements. RE4 remake had a great balance of action and horror, but Code Veronica should feel more oppressive. It should feel like you are truly trapped with no escape. And please, Capcom, give Steve Burnside a better voice actor. That is my only real request. If they can fix Steve, they can fix anything. But yeah, the hype train has officially left the station. The fact that insiders are shifting their prediction from RE5 to CV is the strongest indicator we've had in years. It's no longer just wishful thinking, it's backed by credible chatter behind the scenes. This is exactly what the franchise needs right now. We don't need to rush into the boulder-punching action of RE5 just yet. Let's sit in the horror of the Ashford legacy for one more game. Let's give Claire her moment to shine again. She was amazing in the RE2 remake, and she deserves a solo title that pushes her character forward. So that's the situation. The leak is out, the insiders are talking, and the community is ready. Now, we just play the waiting game. I want to know what you guys think about this. Are you relieved that it's Code Veronica and not RE5? Or were you actually looking forward to doing some co-op action with Sheva? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Do you think the announcement is coming soon? Let me know down below. Like the video, subscribe if you know it's good for you, and until next time, this has been Tozo, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.